Welcome to our first edition of Trojan Talks, a mini video series dedicated to bringing Trojan professionals at all of our schools to you in short video clips. We hope to bring you tips, tricks, strategies, and resources that can extend what we're practicing here in our schools at home with you. I'm Adrienne Barnes. I'm your District Public Relations Coordinator, and today I have with me Miss Whalen. She's a school counselor here at Main Street Visual and Performing Arts Magnet School. She's been part of the Trojan team for more than 20 years, and today we're focusing on how do we practice important social skills with our elementary students.
As she said, I am Leslie Whalen, and I'm a school counselor. As a school counselor, I work with our families and teachers to help teach healthy habits and important life skills to our students. Good social skills help children to have better relationships with their peers and teachers and allow them to be more successful in school and in life. 3 life skills that I want to focus on today are really challenging for elementary students, but some of the most important for our kids to develop early and continue to use throughout their lives. They are listening, following directions, and having empathy. How can you talk to your kids about these skills? And what are easy ways to practice these skills at home? I'm about to tell you.
So, how do we explain what listening is to an elementary student at home?
Listening isn't necessarily about one person staying quiet. Listening means really taking in what someone is saying. A lot of learning in school depends on a child being able to listen to what their teacher is saying.
All right, so how do we practice listening with our littles? So we're talking about elementary students, pre-K to 6th grade here. How do we practice listening with them at home?
Reading a book to your child is one of the easiest ways to practice good listening skills. While families are reading to their kids, you might consider stopping every once in a while and asking questions about what is happening in the story. You might ask about a character or a decision that the character has made, or how the child might make a different decision about the character in the book. By asking questions throughout the story, you're teaching your child to listen and then to reflect. When you choose stories appropriate for your child's attention span, look for books with vivid colors and illustrations, and for books with an easy-to-read structure and central message. Some of my favorites are any of the Pete the Cat books, the Berenstain Bears, and I love the Boxcar Children series. Whatever book you choose, try to pick something that will engage your child and keep his or her interest so that listening becomes something natural to them as they absorb the content.
How do we explain the importance of following directions, which is something that even adults don't always like to do? How do we explain what that is and why it's important to a child?
Explain and remind your children that we all have to work to follow directions. Adults must follow directions all day long to go to work and a career, to drive or operate a car, to purchase food, to maintain a house, and any other day-to-day task. Following directions at school and at home is the first way that kids begin to understand how to take care of themselves in the real world.
How can families model and practice following directions at home with our kids?
Well, playing simple board games like Candyland and Sorry are a great way to practice following directions and taking turns. Set aside some time for fun board games away from phones and television. Your kids will love it.
Can you give us another tip for practicing this skill, following directions, in the way that we engage in dialogue with our kids when we tell them to do something versus ask them to do something?
Right. Another way to actually build skills in following directions is how we give directions to our kids. So try this. Tell a child politely and with love what you are telling them to do instead of asking them. For example, instead of saying, "Would you please set the table?" say, "Set the table, please." Or instead of saying, "Would you clean your room, please?" say, "Clean your room, please." Change the way that you give directions to make sure you're telling them something politely instead of asking them. This helps them to understand that some rules are not choices, they are rules to be followed.
Talk to us about empathy. How do you explain this concept to kids?
Here's how you explain empathy to kids. Empathy means to understand and share the feelings of others.
How do you practice having empathy at home?
A game like Emotion Charades is a fun way to help students discuss emotions. Here's how you do that. One person acts out a certain emotion or feeling, and the other person guesses which feeling is being portrayed. This is a way for children to think about and discuss emotions and feelings. After they've guessed correctly, you can talk about the emotion more with questions like, when do you feel sad? What helps you feel better when you're sad? What can we do to help someone else when they're feeling sad? If you're not comfortable with charades, you can also do this with flashcards, or you can draw your own set of faces and simple emotions like anger, sadness, happiness, and fear. Any way that you can help connect an image with a feeling and then feelings with actions is helpful to our kids as they reflect on their own feelings and the feelings of others.
Miss Whalen, thank you so much for your insight today. And we're so appreciative to have a team of counselors right here at the Hot Springs School District at every single one of our schools.
School counselors in every building are here to offer family support, including suggestions how to continue a child's education at home. Please reach out to any of us anytime. Raising kids is hard work, and we know it.